Oh, back to me. Listen, okay.
Oh,
So
it's all yours.
what we are discussing on this evening, ladies and gentlemen, are are the keys to treating your business like a business. And I'm saying this is part one because I'd never be able to get finished all of these many different keys that we have. This is part one. Part one of the keys to treating your business like a business. Ultimately, we want it to pay us like a business. So I believe that we should start treating our businesses like a business. If you made the purchase like everyone else did, whether you are a ITA only or you're dual agent, you made a purchase, you bought a business, right? And it's important that we start treating it as such. So the first key, the key would be commitment, right? So we're going to be discussing commitment. I got a few points I'm going to give you on commitment, and then we're going to jump off because it's Sunday evening and the game is on. I know some of y'all is probably only on here because it might be halftime or something like that, right? So commitment. Commitment, ladies and gentlemen, is the glue that bonds you to your goals, right? So we're talking about your business, treating your business like a business, right? You want it to pay you like one. If you treat it like a hobby, it'll cost you money like a hobby. But commitment being that glue that bonds you to your goals. When you made this purchase and you bought this business, you did it because you had some goals in mind, right? And we're going to be talking about how your commitment plays a powerful role into you obtaining those goals. So rather than me breaking down the entire word commitment, what we've done on this evening is just took the word commit, right? And we're going to break down that word. I forgot what y'all call it when you break it down by letter, but that's what we're going to be doing. We broke it down by letters. So first, the C in the word commit, right? And y'all should be taking some notes. Mr. Lillard would say, take some copious notes on what we're discussing on this evening, right? The C in commit is for counting the costs. Count the costs, right? You just bought this business, but a lot of people, you know, they don't count the costs, right? There's a saying that in one of my favorite books that talks about a person's not going to build this building or a tower without first sitting down and counting the costs to see if they got the resources to finish said project. You guys have purchased a business, and some of us aren't counting the cost as whether or not we're going to be willing to make the sacrifices of said resources to make sure that we build what we're trying to build within this opportunity. What are those costs that we should be counting? How much time are we going to spend on our business? How much money are we going to spend on our business? Right? What does that look like? And are we committed to doing that? Do you know these things ahead of time? Almost like if we were planning a road trip, one of those long cross-country road trips, Jen, you're gonna leave from DC and drive to California. You ought to know ahead of time, at least how long it's gonna take, possibly, give or take, right? You ought to know, at least you should know how much gas money you need to get through the process, to get there, right? There's no way in the world that if we have committed to going to California, Jen, that en route, we spending the gas money.
That's right.
I would question the commitment level. If you're talking about you're going to get there and you're spending the gas money, ladies and gentlemen, I'm questioning your commitment level. Have you really counted the cost? This is the end of the month, so I'm going to bring this one up. Right around the 28th, you guys know that's when the last of those financial charges come out of your accounts for the businesses that you all purchase, right? And far too often, maybe not to you guys that are watching, right? But far too often in this business, in this industry, people haven't taken it serious enough to count the cost to ensure they got gas money for their business. You end up in some form of credit hole because you ain't got $60 to run your business. Now, I know things happen, challenges happen, and so on and so forth, but I'm not talking about you with the special situation. I'm talking about you that just haven't been committed to making sure there's no reason in the world your account ends up in credit hole, right? Imagine going to the McDonald's and you go in there and ain't no lights on because they didn't pay the light bill. I mean, you would question that establishment. You would question, imagine going to any professional establishment that's brick and mortar and the heat ain't on, not because something broke down, but just because they didn't pay the bill. You got to question whether or not they really counted the cost. And if they did, we now got to question how they have prioritized that stuff, right? There's no way in the world, ladies and gentlemen, $60 a month. No way in the world. If we're going to be treating our business like a business, there's no way in the world $60 isn't put up there in the priority bracket next to your rent or your mortgage or that car payment that you don't miss, right? Your IntelliTravel PlanNet Marketing account is in suspension mode, but your cell phone, you had the same number for the last 30 years. It ain't never off, right? Treat your business like a business, and then people will respect your business like a business. Listen, Jim, back in the day, back in the early 2000s, right, I had a telemarketing call center. I got 10, 20, 30 telemarketers coming to the office to make phone calls. And one morning, that hadn't got there late, I'm getting there late, but one morning I got a call from my office manager. Never forget this. Office manager calls and says, yo, Mr. Clifton, the phones aren't on. 20 phones, the phones are not on. We got people here ready to work. The phones are not on. Well, the phones ain't on because the Verizon bill was like $2,000 for that month. We paid $1,000 every month, Jen, for the phone bill. We had a bad month in sales one month, and then next month, that $2,000 just wasn't in my account. My point is, life happens. We had to make do with what we could do. But had I been committed and counting the costs and doing things that I was supposed to do, you know how embarrassing that was? I got to come in here, what you mean?
But you woke up. Yeah. And everybody was counting on you.
Yes. So here it is, you're a travel agent, professional, you own a travel agency. And you can't get in your back office? Come on, let me move on. That's counting the cost, ladies and gentlemen. You need to count those costs. Figure that stuff out, right? That's the C for commitment. The O stands for optimistic always. Optimistic always. You're gonna treat your business like a business. The last thing you want to do is be in business with someone that's just negative, right? You don't even want to be around those type of people. You want to avoid the negative Neds and Nancys, right? You want to avoid the pessimistic Pams and pessimistic Pauls. But you yourself need to always be optimistic. I have had countless conversations with business partners, people in business. And when we're talking about your business, you're giving me the doom and gloom and like, oh my God, like I don't even want to be around you. You sure you picked the right opportunity? Now, it's one thing when you're expressing your doom and gloom to leadership because you're looking for coaching, or maybe you need to get something off your chest. You know what I'm saying? That's fine. But there's a problem when you project your feelings, your negative feelings about whatever your current situation is downward to your organization or to someone sitting next to you that's not in your organization. No, optimistic always, right? I don't want to hear the doctor's report that's negative. You better always be a light at the end of the tunnel, right? And as a matter of fact, when I go to the doctors, I don't care how grim the situation may be, the good doctors with the good bedside manner are always some kind of way optimistic. Well, I'm not out of the woods yet, but in such and such, such and such. You got to continue to be optimistic about your business in spite of what you currently see or in spite of your present situation, because I promise you life's going to happen. But if you're committed, that optimism helps you keep going. That makes sense, Jen? If you're committed, right?
It's that in spite of. Yep.
In spite of, right? But now watch this. That brings me to the M, which is mindset matters. Mindset matters. It's hard to find yourself being optimistic and sounding like me and Roger and Mr. Scott, who pretty much always optimistic if you're gonna have a conversation with me, right? How you doing, Mr. Clifton? I'm super fantastic. Every freaking time. That's the answer you're gonna get just about, right? If you get an answer that sounds something different than super fantastic or something else, trust me, I'm going through something for a couple seconds. But understand, we said going through, we're not staying there. But the mindset, how do you develop the mindset that matters for me to stay committed? How do you do that? And we suggest all the time. You hear me say it, you hear Mr. Lillard say it, you hear Mr. Scott say it. All of the leaders, we talk about how important it is to continue to read. Readers are leaders. Leaders are readers, whatever the saying, however the saying goes. It's all about your mind. You guys have heard me say before that life or business is 90% mental. It's 10% everything else. It's 90% mental and 10% everything else. So how do I stay optimistic during these challenging times, right? What are you watching? What are you pouring into your mind? Are you watching too much news? Nothing wrong with being informed, but are you watching too much of it, right? Are you hanging around too many people that aren't helping feed your mind? Are you the smartest one in your circle? You can't rise above the company you keep, right? So if you're the smartest person or the richest person in your circle, that means everybody's pouring from you. Your mind is being depleted, right? Your energy and your resources are being depleted because you're the alpha in your circle. That means you need a new circle. That means you got to stretch yourself and start hanging around people that have your goals and not your same problems. But that's a mindset. This is important. If your mindset, think about the amount of people that walked away and quit the opportunity. Where was their thinking? You can tell what their thinking was based on the conversation that you had with them when they quit. They gave you all the I can't weather the storm excuses to why I got to walk away. Now, I'm not talking about the person that, maybe hit the lottery, they rich now and then walking away made sense for them. But I'm talking about the people that give you all of those. It's too cold outside. So, my dog didn't eat last week and he got the runs and yeah, this business just ain't for me. I mean, where do we come up with these things? But the mindset is the problem. How are you thinking? Oh, get you even deeper. Do you believe in this opportunity? That's all mindset. 100%. You believed it enough to spend your 200. But do you really believe that this opportunity can pay you what we're suggesting it can pay you? Some people, interestingly enough, because of your mindset, technically, the way the world works, God might know you're not mentally ready for the amount of income you think you want right now. Mindset, right? Jim Rohn talks about all the time. All of this isn't really important in business. What's important is who are you becoming during this process, throughout this process? What's the mindset like? Long-term, we're thinking long-term, legacy building. What is your mindset like? Your mindset, ladies and gentlemen, especially if you're brand new, your mindset should be just like the person their first year of college. That's why the book Mr. Scott is having you guys read, Your First Year in Network Marketing. Mindset. Your mindset right now should be my first year in college. And guess what? The average person first year in college, you ain't finna be rich. You're not speaking like the person who's about to get a degree, but you understand that there's a 4-year at least process, growing curve. Think about what you adults, you out there listening, think about what you would be telling your child, your son, your daughter, when they come to you year 1.5, with all of these aspirations of quitting and walking away from college. Think about all of what you're going to tell them to convince them mentally to stick in there and get it done. Mindset. Mindset matters, ladies and gentlemen, right? Now, that leads me to the next M. The next M in commit is for motivation and discipline. I'm combining them in there, right? Motivational discipline.
Motivation.
Yeah, motivational discipline. That's what that M stands for right there. Motivation, ladies and gentlemen, is usually what gets you started, right? It's usually what that spark of energy that gets you pumped up for a second, gets your heart beating. It even gets you in the gym, but it's not enough to keep you through the whole process, not enough to keep you committed, right? So that's why I had to add discipline in it, because a lot of people, at the end of the day, your problem, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to me, most of our problem is not motivation and inspiration. It's discipline, period. You're not disciplined enough. That's what it boils down to. The discipline, one of my little quotes over here. Discipline is doing it no matter what your emotional state is. Did y'all get that one? Discipline is doing it no matter what your emotional state is. So discipline can care less about your emotions. Do like I told my son, to take your emotions and rub them on your chest. Disciplines, we don't care nothing about that. Discipline means I gotta get it done. You're disciplined when you go to work. You're disciplined when you drive a car. Be non-disciplined while you're driving and see if you don't end up on the 6 o'clock news. Right? Be non-disciplined while you're building this business and see, won't you be a bronze builder for the next 3 years? Because of lack of some daggone discipline, right? Motivation gets you started. Discipline keeps you growing. Motivation is what got me in the gym, what got me back working out for whatever your target goal is. But that discipline is going to be what's going to have me not go and get the ice cream and cookies tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, the ice cream and cookies have been calling me for the last 3 days. But the discipline, I promise you, I walked by the frozen section just yesterday. The discipline said, don't do it. Why? Because I'm committed to the transformation, right? And guess what? The motivation for all of this has been left, right? I got commitment is doing the thing you said you was going to do long after the mood left. So all of those things are already gone. And now I want the ice cream and cookies. That's why discipline is so daggone important. Discipline is what you talking to your kids about. So some of y'all, interestingly enough, you're hypocrites, right? You'll be out there teaching your kids these life principles about discipline, and then you purchase this business and you won't be disciplined yourself. And your coaches, and Mr. Scott, Mr. Lillard, and whoever your directors are, we're giving you the disciplines that you need to successfully run this business. And then you scratching your head trying to figure out why it's not working and so on and so forth, how you're not disciplined. You still up late at night doing bull crap, right? Let me move on, because I could be on discipline for a long time. Matter of fact, part 2, ladies and gentlemen, of treating your business like a business, well, we're going to break down discipline, right? Now, let's move on. Where we at? The I. The I stands for intentional intent. And look, if I'm making up words or y'all doing something, don't judge me.
Intentional what?
Your intentional intent.
Thank you.
Intentional intent. This is all a part of being committed. This is the key to treating your business like a business. You got to be intentional. What is intentional? Doing things on purpose, deliberately. And there's certain things that you guys aren't doing consistently enough on purpose, deliberately, like talking to those people, like making those phone calls. Watch this. Intentional is doing things on purpose and deliberately. Intent is planned. See, it's one thing when you do something on purpose, but it's a deeper thing when it's planned, right? So now I'm planning to go talk to these people. I'm planning to make these phone calls, and then I do it intentionally for the goal that I set forth, right? Intentional intent. You like that one?
Love it.
Love it. It got to be planned. What's the other saying? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. This tells me there's a lack of people being intentional about their business, right? If you fail to plan, if you plan to, you know, heard the saying, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. You got to be intentional. Now let's move on. The T. The T stands for time management. The T is for time management. people are killing themselves because they think they ain't got enough time. Where's this little quote I just pulled up? Nobody is too busy. It's just a matter of priorities. Did y'all hear that one? Nobody's too busy. It's just a matter of priorities. How are we prioritizing this opportunity? Again, I'm not speaking to the person that is treating this business like a hobby. This is just that thing you're trying out. It's just something that you're doing on the side. It is what it is. We're not speaking to you. But that person that purchased a business and is looking for the business to do what a business should do, then we need to now make certain things a priority. No different than if I joined the 49ers right now. If I was a professional football player and I joined that team, there are going to be certain things that I'm going to have to do with my time. It's a priority. It's a priority that I show up to training. What you think, Jen?
Absolutely.
It's a daggone priority that I show up to training. It's a priority that I show up to those coaches' calls and those different meetings. There are many, many different priorities that I have to have set if I join the 49ers. And that's on top of everything else I got going on in my life, right? Because none of us watching the game is going to excuse superstar such and such for having missed practice because he was playing the PlayStation, or because he was doing this, that, and the third, because he didn't have his priorities. I seen some of y'all pissed off because your favorite team members didn't have their priorities set. They're not managing their time properly. Now, look, everyone is guilty of that, right? Everyone at some point or another has been guilty of not managing their time properly. The difference is, one thing you're not going to ever hear me do is complain about those situations, especially when you have enough self-awareness to know that it's my fault. I own that 1,000%. So if I jack that time up, riding around, looking for some ice cream and cookies, I'm going to own that, right? I jack that up. But if I'm saying I'm committed to this process, then I got to make sure I get it done. Two-step rule for time management. Number one, plan your day to achieve your goals. Plan your day. We talked about intentional intent. Planning your day helps you make sure you daggone have the maximum results for your time. There's a saying that goes, a millionaire knows what he's doing with every second or every minute of his day. And y'all talking about you trying to be 2, 3, 4, 5 star, 6 star, but you don't even know what you're doing tomorrow. What you doing tomorrow? Right? What time are you sitting down and working on your business tomorrow? Part 2 of that two-step rule is keep to your plan. Part 1 was plan your day to achieve the goals, and then 2 is keep to the plan. That talks about the priorities again. No differently, if you said you was going to make dinner for your kids, I don't care how busy you got, your kids was eating. Right? I know mine they were going to eat.
No matter what.
And guess what? When you properly planning your day, making sure your kids eat doesn't always mean you the one that's making the food. We business owners, we entrepreneurs, right? We so busy. So that means we need to be resourceful. So if I got a million things going on that I planned, then I can also plan to have someone else make my kids' meal. For the same reason, if you plan and you put it on paper or you put it in your calendar, you plan to show up to, what's the date, Jen, for the next?
15th, February 15th.
Let's see, watch this. If you plan that, I talked to y'all about you're going to be there on the 15th. Well, God willing, if the Lord is able, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm going to try to swing through. You ever heard that one? I'm going to try to swing through there. That typically means it's not a plan. It's not a priority. 50% of the time, you're not going to be there. You didn't plan it. You know why? When that day comes, you'll tell me, oh, well, I had to feed the kids. Oh, well, I had to go back home, walk the dog. Oh, well, I had to, take the car to Jiffy Lube and the traffic and so on and so forth. Bama, you just didn't plan to be at this event. Keep it 100. You didn't plan on it. And if you're not planning on showing up to practice, what kind of a team, what kind of a 49er would I be? I ain't got no, it ain't, no practice ain't on none of my schedules or itineraries, right? What kind of a team, how successful do I want to be? You look at my calendar, I ain't got none, come on. So are you planning to be, now listen, I know it's a COVID situation. Everybody can't be, moving in the same fashion. I get that. Some of you guys are in different cities and states, but guess what? The stuff that's online eliminates your excuses. It amazes me the amount of people that don't show up for the online events. The online one, and you talk about your time management, you don't put that thing planned down there. I would appreciate, even if you planned and got on there just so your little picture or the little bubble of your face is there and you in the kitchen cooking, but at least your presence is electronically noted, right? You're like the person that shows up to the practice, sits in the back of the room and falls asleep. At least you there. Some of y'all ain't even there. And your biggest problem is you're not managing your time. So how can you show up? Time management is huge, ladies and gentlemen, right? But see, some of y'all are not interested in this level of sacrifice, this level of commitment, right? This isn't for everybody, and it shows, right? Your why might not be big enough. Some of you might just have been interested in being a business owner. That sounds good. I'm gonna try it out. There's a difference between interest and commitment. When you're interested in doing something, you do it only when it's convenient. But when you're committed to doing something, you accept no excuses, results only. Did y'all hear that?
They heard it. I heard it.
I'll get to you one more time. There's a difference, right, between interest and commitment. When you're interested in doing something, you do it only when it's convenient. You fair weather saints, some of y'all only show up when the sun is shining. You only want to plant your seeds when it's nice outside, right? You do it when it's convenient. I'm gonna show up to the meeting if these other things don't happen. I'll be on the Zoom if my mama don't come over. I'll be there, man, when it's convenient for you. But when you committed to something, you accept no excuses, only results. Ladies and gentlemen, I am committed to these goals that I have for myself in this business that I purchased. For no investment, I purchased a business. I'm committed to it. And because I first have decided that I'm going to be committed to this business, that's my first key of treating it like a business so it can pay me like a business, because I'm going to commit to it. I'm going to commit to the success of this business. I'm committed to it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am done with part one of the keys to treating your business like a business so it pays you like a business. That was part one. We was just talking about commit and how important it is to be committed and see that thing through.
All right, when is part two?
Part two will be with me and Mr. Lillard, and probably a special guest or two. We're going to continue with this information. Part two. Hopefully y'all will show up 7:30. What's the word Wednesday, where we give you part two, keys to treating your business like a business, ladies and gentlemen. Especially when you want them tax write-offs look real good at the end of the year when you treating your business like a business. Oh my God.
And so they can get what's the word Wednesday at 7:30. 7:30, correct?
7:30
Eastern Standard Time, and YouTube and